everyone, I hope you're enjoying your weekend and I'm really excited to be back today with some more sign language. Before I jump into some phrases though, I want to give a quick shout out to my class. We had a Zoom meeting this week and I was super proud of them. I read a story and when it was time for them to share, I noticed that as their classmates were speaking, some of my students were doing this. And this sign indicates me too in sign language. So all you do is open up your thumb and pinky and keep the rest of your fingers folded in, and then you're going to point your thumb towards yourself and then move your hand in a back and forth motion. So that sign means me too. And I saw my students using it a lot on their little screen as their classmates were sharing. So that was definitely a proud teacher moment. And so I'm sending big hugs to all my students because that was super awesome to see and I'm so proud of you. Keep up the great work. Okay, let's jump into our phrases for this week. The first phrase is see you later. So first, the sign for see. All we're going to do is take our fingers kind of by our eyes and then move it outwards. So that's see. And then for later, we're gonna make an L and then just move our wrist forward. So when we put it all together, that's see you later. The second phrase I want to show you this week is what does this sign mean? And this can be really useful for when you're communicating with someone in sign language and maybe they sign something that you're not familiar with or that you haven't seen yet, so you can ask them what it means. Before I show you this, there's something to note. Most of the time in sign language, when you're asking a question, the question word is going to be what you sign last. So this can be who, what, when, where, why, how. All of those words are going to come at the end. So the way this question is going to be structured is sign, and then the sign that you're unfamiliar with means what. For sign, we already learned this when we learned how to sign I'm learning to sign. So for sign, you're just going to take your two fingers and then move them in kind of a circular motion. So that's sign. And then for means, you're going to hold one hand with your palm out flat, kind of facing the opposite direction. And then just like we did for see, you're going to take your two fingers and you're going to point them straight towards your palm first and then flip them kind of sideways. So that's means. And then for what, you're going to kind of just hold your hands out with your palms up and kind of shrug your shoulders and move your hands around just a little bit. And a lot of times when you're communicating with someone who speaks sign language, your facial expressions can indicate if you're asking a question. So you can kind of move your eyebrows in a downward motion when you're asking what. And remember, after sign, that's where you're going to show the sign that you're confused about. So for this purpose, I'm just going to use pizza from last week. So we have sign, and then the sign you're confused about means what? Sign means what? Moving on to our words this week, it might seem like I'm giving you a lot of information, but it's just because a lot of the signs I'm going to show you are very similar. So this week we are going to learn boy and girl, brother and sister, mom and dad, and grandma and grandpa, and friend. Let's start with boy. So for boy, you're going to kind of bring your hand up to your forehead and then move your hand forward and close your fingers. I think of the brim of a baseball cap, so you can think of that too as you're signing boy. For girl, we're going to make an A, and then we're going to just move our thumb kind of from our jaw down to our chin. So that's girl. For brother, you're going to take your boy sign again, and then you can take your two fingers and then put them together. That indicates same. So you can kind of think of a boy in the same family. So that's brother. Another way to sign brother, we're going to use the same boy sign. We are going to take our hands and show our pointer fingers and then tap them on top of one another. So that's brother. So we have brother or brother. And then sister is going to be the same thing, only we're going to use the sign for girl. So that's sister or sister. Something to note when doing signs for people, a lot of the signs for boys will be at the top of your head or your forehead, and a lot of the signs for girls will be down by your chin area. So let's keep that in mind when we do mom and dad and grandma and grandpa. For dad or father, you're going to take your hand with all 5 fingers out and then touch your thumb to your forehead. So that's dad or father. And then for mother, the same thing, but you're just going to touch your thumb to your chin. So that's mom or mother. For grandpa, you are going to do the same sign as father, but then you're going to bounce it forward twice. So that's grandpa. I kind of think of the generational aspect of that, where it's like there's you, and then your dad, and then your grandpa. So think of that for grandpa or grandfather. Same thing for grandma or grandmother. You're gonna tap your thumb to your chin, and then you're going to bounce it forward twice. So think of you, and then your mom, and then your grandma for a grandma, or grandmother, or whatever you choose to prefer to call your grandmother. And lastly for today, we have friend. And for friend, you are going to kind of make a hook with both of your fingers and then tap them together twice. So kind of one on top of the other and then switch it. So that's friend. Now let's move to our alphabet. I'm going to do a quick review of the letters up to what we know, and then I'll teach you 3 new ones today. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. So we're here at P, and all you're going to do for Q is kind of switch your fingers so that it's just your pointer finger and your thumb pointing downwards. Think of pinching something to pick it up, only you're going to keep that open. So that's Q. And then for R, all you're going to do is cross your fingers, kind of your middle finger behind your pointer finger. I just think of crossing your fingers for good luck. So that's the sign for R. And then for S, be careful because it's very similar to A. For A, we have our thumb on the side of our fingers, and then for S, we're just going to fold our thumb in front of our fingers. So we were here at P, and this week we learned Q, R, and S. In last week's video, I assigned a sentence, and I will put the answer to it now. And now I will go ahead and show you this week's sentence. So see if you know what I'm communicating to you in sign language, and go ahead and shoot me an email or a message on Class Dojo. Thank you to those of you who responded last week. Everyone got it correct again. So very nice job, keep up the great work. It's awesome to know that you're doing so well. That's all for this week. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.